before that, I need to go across to the other two speakers as well. Mr. Vikram Singh, now Tuhin spoke of some stats, right? This exercise has been ongoing for weeks now. We've seen the kind of number of devotees who've already made it to Mahakumbh. They've taken the holy dip. We've seen all of that happen. An unfortunate stampede also did take place. And we've seen the opposition rake that to the magnitude that we see them, rake this today. But that said, there are several weekends that have gone by. This exercise was being carried out in a similar manner. Where do you think things went wrong today? The official version coming in is already there were 2 trains which were running late. So there was a delay on part of 2 trains on adjacent platforms. There was a Prayagraj Express. And given the number of people who were wanting to travel to Prayagraj, that assessment was done and another special train was announced. It's a confusion that's led to this. Do you believe that version?
Certainly. Good evening. I certainly believe in that version, that there was a confusion, and that confusion was worst confounded by the fact that there was no clarity in the minds of those who were implementing the schemes of how to handle the crowds. To begin with, we began on a wrong note that we had 1,500 tickets being sold every hour. And to say that what happened at Prayagraj on the 29th was a clear indication of the fact that crowds would be overwhelming. And for somebody in responsibility to say that we were overwhelmed by the crowds, I really don't understand what kind of a statement is this from a responsible quarter, that the crowds were, you're not supposed to allow the grass to grow underneath your feet. You're supposed to cater to an emergency and contain the situation. You should have been forewarned and prepared. We have human intelligence, as Mr. Arya said. We have technical intelligence. We have artificial intelligence. We have so much of backup that we should have known and anticipated the crowd is swelling. Somebody said, another version says that the passenger slipped. I would say that you slipped up. There was a slip up in the arrangements, and that is why you come up with unacceptable versions that nobody will accept. A professional person will not accept. This is almost like giving up your responsibility and trying to pass the buck on to another department. The police to the railways, railways to the police, and both to somebody else. That the crowd was so... the crowd does not descend from the skies.
But how much of a role, Mr. Singh, does the police have to play here? I mean, there's the RPF, there's the JRF, etc. I mean, when does the police come in?
Mr. Arya said that it is the primary job of the police. And if the police finds that they are not equal to the task, they get reinforced from the paramilitary. The paramilitary, the home guards, the force multipliers, and they could have done it. The crowd has to be managed. And it's a simple calculation of basic mathematics and an algorithm of management of crowds. And if in this area you have selling 1,500 tickets, a platform can hold something around 10,000. With so many platforms, you would have so many. And if there are more, please take pains to identify some nearby school, have some catchment area so that you hold the crowds till the time you have trains in position, and then guide them from the front, from the middle, and from the rear in an escorted manner, in a planned manner to a particular platform. It cannot be a free-for-all. And presuming that it was a free-for-all, where was the CPR? Where was the emergency? Where was the ambulance? I think everybody abandoned his or her responsibility, and then we are coming with excuses that are just not acceptable. My advice to Mr. Tuhin Sinha would be that there are occasions when you have to have action on the basis of prima facie evidence. The prima facie evidence is very much there. And if we were to delay the inquiry and implement on the findings, maybe after a couple of years, well, it is not very reassuring.
Okay, all right. Tuhin, a lot of response on your part that's being sought. But before that, I'll let Sujata come in. Sujata, what's your take on this? We've seen a lot of, fireworks already, politically speaking, over the same. That shouldn't be our focus. But what's your biggest concern coming out of this tragedy?
Good evening, Kritsween, and good evening to all my co-panelists and to your audiences. My heartfelt condolences to all those families who have lost their loved ones or who are injured, and I pray to the Almighty that they recover soon. You know, when we are talking today about this incident, what you clearly see is that on the day the incident happened, preceding that, on the 29th of January, when the stampede happened in Prayagraj, obviously everybody knew that toward the last days of the Kumbh, there will be an overwhelming overflow of people. Now, were we prepared about it? Were we proactive after what all has happened with the railways? The railway minister might be trying to cover up, but the fact is that a few hours before this incident happened, this massacre happened on the 15th of February, What happened was that there was a safety review meeting, but neither was safety thought about, nor was this really a review meeting, because it must basically have been just a meeting of people. And why do I say that? Every railway station will have a carrying capacity. You cannot allow more people to come in. We have heard other people also speak about it. Now, let me also mention here that there have been 4 such incidents at this particular railway station, New Delhi railway station, this being the 4th one. 13 November 2004, when 5 people died, 2010, 2 people, 2012, 1 adult, 1 child, and this is the 4th one. So that means, what are we missing here? Let's try to figure out what are the aspects which go into looking after the security of the railway. How come so many people were allowed to enter? And if there was an overwhelming overflow, I want to understand what were the people sitting at the CCTVs doing. If you go to New Delhi railway station, you are checked and there is a CCTV system out there. So wasn't anyone sitting over there? And the moment they saw so many people entering, should they not have stopped it immediately? What is this great fancy that the BJP government has about 1,500 tickets being sold every 1 hour? Now, might I remind you over here that when such a large number of tickets are being sold, when you expect so many people to be coming in, the railway security is in the dock today. One, the CCTV, people who are sitting, manning the CCTV are in the dock, and the Ministry of Railways, which is responsible for making sure that people go to Prayagraj, is definitely responsible. So how can the railway minister be excused today, Kritsween? I ask you, without any politics. I will remind you of the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, who, when he was the railway minister and when the Ariyalur train accident took place, he offered to resign immediately, and he ultimately resigned on 7 December 1956. When various other incidents have happened, people have taken responsibility, because if you don't take responsibility, if the department, the government, the minister will not be sacked, what happens is it percolates down to the people in these offices, in the administration, because then they know that if we are targeted, then the minister will get targeted, the ministry will get targeted, so we are safe. And that is why this incident has happened today. And I feel extremely sorry at the reaction of the BJP.
Okay. Tuhin, respond. Also, how is it anybody's fault? You know, those people who are paying from their pockets, they're getting themselves a ticket, they're only moving towards their platform. How is it anyone else's fault here but the authority?